Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our Community Charging Rebates Program information session. We still have folks coming in, so we're going to give it a couple more minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and get started at 12:03. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're still letting folks into the information session, so we're just going to get started in about 1 minute. Go ahead and get settled in, and we'll be starting at 12:03.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Jenna Compton. I'm the key contact at the Oregon Department of Transportation for the Community Charging Rebate Program. I'll be presenting today for the program. Before I get into that, I would like to mention that we have a guest here today named Jessie. And Jessie, if you could introduce yourself, that would be great.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessie, and I'm the Director of Network Growth for EBCS, and I'm here to support Jenna and the force to this meeting, and also answer any question regarding the L2 Level 2 installations. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jessie. ODOT has contracted with Forth to help with outreach and technical assistance. I would like to introduce a member of Forth that will be joining me today, Alexandra.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alexandra Everett, and I'm a program manager at Forth and super excited to be supporting ODOT in this work.
Great, thank you. And we will leave time after the CCR presentation and brief Q&A for you to ask Jessie questions that are specific to the installation, planning, and design of your project. Please know that our speakers came here today to speak voluntarily and that ODOT does not endorse their organization or any one organization in particular. We think hearing from someone who has expertise on EV charging installation could be very helpful for you. Stick around for an opportunity to pose those questions later on. We'll begin the presentation now. Perfect. The goal of today's webinar is to cover some of the basic eligibility information and to discuss the funding available and how it will be distributed. Forth and ODOT are working together to provide a high level of technical support both before and during the application process. This is a soft launch of the program to help you understand the basics of how to prepare. Details are evolving, and the best way to stay informed is to check the website, sign up for the newsletter, and join our upcoming information sessions in May and June. More helpful, more helpful information is on the way, including a step-by-step guide of the application process, as well as a PDF of the application, which we'll be posting on our website in June. As we near the launch date, on June 13th of 2023, these sessions will become more detailed and help walk you through the application process. Before we dive in deeper, if there is anyone that cannot stay for the entire session, that's okay. We have a recording of the April 24th session, which is currently available on the program website. We'll record the session today as well. Electric vehicles are crucial to lowering our greenhouse gas emissions. With the increasing demand for electric vehicles and charging infrastructure is essential. ODOT would like to use this rebate program to help benefit projects that are located in priority communities. This program is intended to fill the gaps in charging infrastructure throughout the state. Targeting priority communities is a key element of this program. The goal is to give these communities a head start for the next EV wave. EV drivers are often parked for longer periods of time while they are charging. The program looks to place stations within multifamily housing complexes, business areas, and shopping districts, predominantly in places where people can stay to eat, explore, and shop for a while. This program will work with level 1 and level 2 charging. As you can see on the left-hand side, level 1 charging will require a 120-volt outlet. You can you can use these outlets in most homes. This outlet is what is used to charge common home appliances like your microwave or laptop. On the right-hand side, we have a level 2 charger. Level 2 charging requires a 240-volt outlet. This outlet may look less familiar but are commonly found in homes where high-powered appliances are used. You can usually find this outlet powering your drying machine. The program aims to help reduce the cost for the applicants and place EV chargers in strategic locations. Rebates equate to $4,250 to $5,500 per port, or up to 75% of the eligible cost, whichever is less. Applicants can apply in two ways, either as a pre installation or a post installation project. We will go over the rebates and the application flow in more detail in the following slides. The program will launch on June 13th and close once funds are fully allocated or by mid-August, whichever comes first. On this slide, we have a pie chart to help visualize. The funds will be separated into two buckets. There is a total of $1,750,000 available for the first round. 30% or $525,000 will be available for non-priority communities, and 70% or $1,225,000 for priority communities. The rebate will be reserved on a first come first served basis in each category. Please note that a single entity cannot claim more than $150,000 in rebates per round. I will leave this slide up for a bit longer. Okay. Here is an image of the priority type locator map that applicants can use now on our website. If you have a specific location in mind, you can search the address once you open the map, and the map will generate an answer. The answer will state whether the site location is in a priority or non-priority community. If the location is in a priority community, the map will clarify whether the location is disadvantaged, rural, or both disadvantaged and rural. If you want to search a general area, you can click on the map on the website and zoom into the location. The legend or key will be on the right-hand side, so you can view which locations are rural, disadvantaged, or non-priority. Every location in the state of Oregon is categorized either as priority or non-priority communities. This tool will only differentiate which bucket of money the rebates will be pulled from. ODOT is using the statewide equity map to determine if areas are deemed as high or medium-high disparity, and the Oregon Office of Rural Health's urban, rural, and frontier areas map to determine if areas are urban or rural. Keep in mind, this information will be requested during the application process. Here's the rebate breakdown in greater details for eligible projects. Beginning with the first row, Level 2 chargers that are considered publicly accessible parking will receive $4,250 per port, or up to 75% of eligible project costs. Multifamily housing Level 2 chargers will receive $5,500 per port, or up to 75% of eligible costs, and multifamily applicants can also receive a $750 rebate for the installation of Level 1 charging ports. We recommend installing a Level 1 charging port in conjunction to a Level 2 charging port, since Level 1 charging can take longer. Also note, applicants must install a minimum of 2 ports, and there is a maximum of 8 ports per site location. Rebates are based on either a maximum dollar amount per port as listed in the chart, or a percentage of eligible project costs, whichever is less. To apply for the program, eligible applicants must be a business, nonprofit organization, state, local entity, or tribal government entity. Businesses and nonprofits must be licensed to do business in Oregon with a valid Oregon business license. They must also be the site owner or the authorized agent with a site verification form. The form will be requested from each applicant during the application process. The form is now available on our website. We also offer some examples of ideal sites, including shopping centers, recreational areas, parks, restaurants, public libraries, schools, and there are many more. If you would like to see a more extensive list of the ideal site host location and the site verification form, both are on the Community Charging website program now. The goal is to have places for the public to spend time visiting while their cars are charging. The two eligible locations are publicly accessible parking sites and multifamily housing. We went over a few examples of ideal publicly accessible parking sites. Additional examples include tourist locations, retail stores, transit stations, and more. And for multifamily housing, some examples include apartment buildings, townhouses, condos, and more. Here's a list of the eligible costs to begin considering: charging equipment, installation, labor and material costs, engineering design costs, electrical service upgrades, project signage, site lighting, ADA compliance, network agreement costs, and maintenance costs. I will leave this slide up for a little bit longer if you would like to take a picture of the eligible costs. Okay. There are two ways to apply for the rebate. The first is with the pre-installation method, and the second is the post-installation method. We'll begin with the pre-installation application flow. To qualify for an incentive, applicants may apply prior to the project installation and reserve funding. Here's the pre-installation application process. Again, we will go into greater detail on the application specifics in the meetings before the launch. That way everyone feels comfortable with the application process. The applicant gathers and submits all necessary documentation. There is a list of required documents on our website that you can review. If there are any errors with the application, ODOT will send it back to the applicant with a note explaining what they need to fix. The applicant will have 10 days to make the necessary corrections and resubmit the application. Once any errors are corrected, ODOT will review the application again and reserve the funding. The applicant then has 270 days to install and submit the post-installation portion. Once the post-installation portion of the application is submitted and reviewed, if everything is correct, the application is approved and a payment is dispersed. Now, this is the post-installation application process. To qualify for an incentive, applicants may apply for the rebate within 90 days of the installation date, as long as installation was completed after the program's effective date on June 13th of 2023. The guidelines define the term installation date as the date on which the charging station is affixed to its permanent location, connected to the electrical source, and ready for use. Again, the application goes through the reviewer process. If there is an error, the applicant will receive a notification to fix the error, and once the applicant resubmits and everything is correct, the project is approved for payment. There are lots of resources on the Community Charging Rebate website for applicants to read through, including the FAQ, Site Verification Form, Required Documents Checklist, EV Charging 101, the Transportation Electrification website, and more. We also recently posted the Priority Type Locator Map, the list of qualified chargers, the guidelines in draft form. Remember, ODOT reserves the right to make changes to the guidelines before the program launch date on June 13th of 2023. And a detailed list of eligibility requirements. We will also be providing a step-by-step guide of the application, as well as a PDF of the application before the launch date. If you have any questions after the presentation, please contact us at the email listed on the slides. You can also visit the Community Charging Rebate Program website or get updates on Fourth and ODOT's social media pages. You can begin submitting questions about the Community Charging Rebate Program now, and after we finish those questions, you can then ask Jessie a few questions about your project specifics.
Excellent. Thank you for that wonderful overview of the program and the rebate guidelines, Jenna. Please drop your comments in the chat. We did have one comment come in, and I'd like to clarify that attendees at this webinar cannot turn on your camera and you're not able to turn on your mic. So do please type up your questions and we will get to them. For the rebate specific questions, we will be answering them now, and any technical questions will start at about 12:30. So one question that came in is there a preferred or recommended contractor list for installing chargers? Fourth and ODOT do not have a preferred or recommended contractor list. We do have some resources available to you, and we can point you in the right direction to get started. I'd like to clarify that neither Fourth nor ODOT are endorsing these companies, so it's up to the applicant to do their due diligence. And we can also ask Jessie for her feedback as well on this question at 12:30. Thank you for that question, Stephanie. Okay. Brian is asking, can I start the application process now? No, the application will be launching in June, on June 13th, and you will be able to submit your application then. Please keep in mind that to be eligible, project costs must be incurred after that date.
Mhm.
Lewis is asking, must all work be done by a contractor or can owners do some of their own work, i.e. contract concrete trenching? That's a great question that we haven't come through before. I think we will maybe leave this for the technical question portion to
Yeah,
get some more.
we can also answer that question more to and ask for more details over email, and then we can correspond with you that way too.
Thank you, Lewis. Okay, Tori is asking, are we able to start install now, but completion needs to be after the June launch date? Jenna, would you like to clarify this question?
Yeah, so since all project costs must be incurred after the launch date, I would recommend beginning construction after the launch date as well. So June 13th of 2023.
Thank you. Okay, looks like we have questions coming in two different spots, so please bear with me, everybody. Another question that we have from Phil. Can rebates from ODA and PGE be stacked for higher cost installations, including significant service upgrades for condo parking garages? So this rebate can be stacked with other incentives. You will have to notify ODOT of dual participation. There's more explanation in the program guidelines that you can view. In addition, if you have to make sure that your site, in this case, it seems like it's a condo, that it's an eligible location. And for condos, which would fall under multifamily housing, you would have to have a minimum of 5 parking spots that are open to all resident use. Anything else you'd like to add, Jenna, for that question?
No, I think that sounds great.
Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions come in, so we'll just give you a couple more minutes to type those up. In the meantime, I'd like to say that your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. After we end this information session, we will take you to a survey. We'd really appreciate it if you could fill that out. It should only take you a minute or two, so we can continue to improve the information that we're providing to potential applicants. Okay, Lewis, great question. Under eligible costs, it lists network agreement with network provider. Does this include the monthly Wi-Fi?
So we define network charging equipment as charging equipment that is connected to the internet through cellular or wired broadband services to enable payment access management, and usage monitoring. Excuse me.
Thank you. And I'm going to put the link to the program guidelines in the chat right now so everyone has that available. It has excellent information about the rebate in there. Okay, Brian is asking, do parking spots need to be concrete or is gravel acceptable? Another great question. that I have not come across yet. Jenna, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so I would assume if it's within ADA compliance that it would need to be concrete, but we can double check on that and answer that based on your project specifics over email as well, so we can do some more research.
Thank you. Okay, Jason is asking if you are an owner or operator of an EV charging in other states, do you have to be incorporated in Oregon or do asset management in Oregon? So for this question, all organizations to be eligible must be licensed to do business in Oregon. I hope that answers your question, Jason. Jennifer, will ODOT or Fourth be reaching out to multifamily owners and property managers, like maybe through an industry group, to get this opportunity on their radar? Yes, Jennifer, Fourth is working at connecting with different multifamily owners and condos and actively trying to get this rebate in front of them and pique their interest.
Yep. And ODOT is also working with the Oregon Housing and Community Services as well to get the word out. If you have any additional contacts, though, that you would like to provide for us to reach out to, we can do that too.
Definitely. Excellent. Tori, if we have the chargers, but the installation electrical has not been completed, can we submit the install electrical portion only? Um,
That's an interesting question. I would believe you would have to submit both portions. And then if you already have the chargers, the project costs would need to be incurred after the program launch date. So the chargers would have to be purchased after the program launch date.
Thank you. All right, lots of great questions coming in. Brian, also, do the parking spots all need to be right next to each other, or can they be in different spots on the property? As long as you have the parking spots, the minimum for multifamily housing, I'm assuming this is the question, they don't have to be all right next to each other. But if you're installing more than two ports, it would probably make sense that they're close to each other. Oh, thank you, Jillian, for adding the clarification. Tori, you should be able to submit for just installation. You just cannot include the charger equipment as an eligible cost. Thank you, Jillian.
And Jillian is a member of ODOT as well. So if you see her commenting in the chat, she is working with us.
We have a few more questions that came in a different spot, so let me just make sure I didn't skip any. So just to clarify, you have to install 5 EV chargers if it is an HOA. You can't just do one. What I meant for that for multifamily housing, it has to have a minimum of 5 units with 5 parking spots that are available to any resident use and not to individual units. In order to install chargers, it has to be a minimum of 2 ports and a maximum of 8. So you can't just do one, it has to be at least two. I hope that helps. All right. The requirement for excuse me, the requirement for 5 spaces available for all resident use will remove nearly all condos in Portland from eligibility. Owners tend to own their own parking spaces as well. This requirement uh, will have to charge for such facilities. That is a great point, Phil, and something we've been receiving a lot of emails and comments about. So that's something that Fourth and ODOT will discuss and get back to you.
Mhm.
And if a follow-up question from Stephanie, in what if you have limited parking spots in your HOA and can't install 5 EV chargers? Unfortunately, according to the guidelines for this rebate, the unit has to have a minimum of 5 spots to be eligible.
5 parking spaces, and then for the chargers, it's a minimum of 2 ports.
Mhm. Thank you, Jenna. Okay, one more question that we have from Lewis. If you don't submit for reimbursement for the chargers, Do the chargers have to be on the approved list if they are network capable? Um, I'm not sure what this question is asking, Louis. Are you able to provide some additional information?
Oh, Jillian answered, yes, they do.
Okay. Jillian
So the
saving the
chargers would
day. Thank you.
yeah, the chargers would need to be on the approved list.
Okay. And then a question from Jennifer to clarify if the chargers will be in the right of way, is it still minimum 2 maximum ports? Yes, the minimum and maximum number of port applies to all sites. Great questions, everyone. Thank you. Not seeing anything else, so unless we have a few more come through, I think we could transition to Jesse. If you have any more technical information or questions about your potential projects, that would be a great time to ask them.
Okay, I think I can start with the question that I asked before about how to choose the qualified contractor. So I would suggest you to choose a licensed contractor and also if they're EVITP qualified. And this is also related to the question if the owner can do some of the work like trenching and stuff. I would highly recommend you to have a licensed contractor to do that. Unless the owner yourself is a licensed contractor, you will have to deal with the HJ. You will have to deal with the underground inspection for the permit. So I would highly recommend you to choose a licensed contractor.
Thank you, Jesse.
Mhm.
And we got a question, can you define right of way? I don't believe we currently have that definition in our guidelines, but we can work on defining that for you. Oh, yes, we do actually. Right of way parking is defined as the area between neighboring properties, which can include street surfaces, curbs, and sidewalks. And another question, so the 5 spots must be ADA compliant. That is a really good question. I'd like to get back to you on that. We want the charging stations to be ADA compliant where they are, so that people can access them and everyone can access them, but I would like to get back to you on the 5 spots question.
All right. Any other questions? Please continue to type them up. We'll give you a couple minutes, and I'll do one more reminder and a plug to please complete the survey once this webinar is over. Your feedback is incredibly helpful, and it helps us to continue to improve these information sessions. So it will only take you a couple of minutes, I promise. All right. Nothing in this Q&A. Let's see if there's others. Louis, where can we find the ADA guidelines for this project? I
We can
believe that Go ahead, Jenna.
I was just gonna say we can correspond with you over email and work on providing those.
And currently, in the program guidelines, ADA compliance is an eligible project cost, and that includes curb cuts, paths of travel, stripping, etc. Striping, excuse me.
Perfect. And if anyone has any questions on where to start, design questions or installation, Jessie is here to answer them. So we're very grateful to have her and to have her here. But if you have any questions for her as well, that would be great.
I think I actually have a question for Jesse. Um, We've had a few potential applicants who are from rural communities who don't have maybe as much access to installation providers and EV service providers. If I was a business owner in a rural area, what would be my first step in getting this process started?
I would engage with the utility company. Usually, your utility company is your resource. They have, of course, different programs. They will have a qualified vendor list that you can also ask for. and they have a lot of information on the policies from different HJ. So I would contact your account manager from your utility company.
Great,
Thank you,
thank you.
Jesse.
Mhm.
And Fourth and ODOT have also compiled a list of questions to ask your utility to also help you kind of start that conversation. And that is also listed on the ODOT program website. Lewis is asking for follow-up emails. Is ODOT charging rebates at fourthmobility.org the correct one? Yes, please feel free to reach out the fourth team, and we will get back to you with answers to your questions and any support you might need. Okay, any other questions, folks? We have plenty of time, so type them away. If you have any colleagues that were not able to attend this information session that you think would be interested in, like Jenna mentioned at the beginning, we have recorded versions of these sessions available. We also have another one in 2 weeks on March 24th. And I'd also like to plug our June 7th applicant support session that Fourth and ODOT will be hosting. So I highly encourage you to register for that one to get really prepared to submit your application on June 13th or sometime soon after. Okay, well, I am not seeing any more questions. Any final comments from you, Jesse, or from Jenna?
Go ahead, Jenna.
Oh, I just saw a comment in the chat. Sorry. Can Fourth help me to find other incentives that may stack with this one?
Yes, we can help you look into the different options you have available to really try to offset the cost of charging installation. So, yes, please reach out to us. Great. All right. If there's no more questions, I think we'll start to wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for attending, for asking fantastic questions. If you have any further questions that you think of right after we get off the call or in 2 or 3 days or whenever, please feel free to send us an email. Our information is on the website. We'll also send a follow up email to everyone with all of the links and resources just to make sure you have that all in one nice little package. And yes, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much, Jesse, for joining us and for providing your insight. Thank you, Jenna, for the wonderful introduction and facilitation of the questions. And thank you all again for attending. I'm going to end the webinar shortly, and it will prompt you to a survey right away. So please take a moment or two to fill it out to help us improve these sessions. And with that, thank you, and until next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.